I will. The HDRB meeting is called in session. Okay, 31st Street, Edge 48. Have a seat. Tell us all about what you're gonna do.
Anywhere you want. Yeah, this is not.
It's in the middle.
So we built the deck that we discussed a while ago,
Uh-huh.
found the contractor. And then the fence replacement, hopefully in the front's coming soon as well.
Cool.
But, so in the back, you know, rather than expand the house at all, we've been really trying to eke out and kind of reorganize everything inside. So we didn't have really maybe exact placement when we were here originally, with the windows and doors.
Okay.
But now in discussion with the contractor, and we're doing a new kitchen here in the back.
Mhm.
So this is the dining area, this is the kitchen, and in front of it's the living room. It's maybe 450 square feet. And they're gonna do a half bath. Which right now there's just the one upstairs. We're gonna do a tiny half bath. So anyway, we just sort of needed to reorder where the windows sit. They're, you know, maximum transparency is what we're looking for, so over the sink, we're going to use panel, window, basement on each side. Next to it is another panel. And then for the dining area, sort of in the middle of the room, this is a triple slider, but only actually one panel moves because the other panel is the table anyway. It just seemed like the best way to get that done. And remarkably, it wasn't any more expensive than doing a regular door plus a panel. So anyway, that's where we are. I mean, nothing else has changed in the back.
This is not visible. This is not visible from the street. No.
Not from, no, it's,
Do we have, you have, what was approved previously?
A lot of files from 30 Fair.
Yeah.
What was the last thing with the fence? That was in January.
Yeah, not the.
Building permit wood deck replaced door and windows on rear facade.
Yeah.
You can see this.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I can make a copy of that. You give a copy to everybody.
I think we have, do we have?
I don't,
Have
oh, you
the
have it?
thing. Yeah.
That's attached to your stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
there was concern last time, and so we just cleared it up on this one as far as the facade. And so we just want to move those things down. So back and forth last time, we were considering using
Okay,
board up the back, but
Mhm.
we're gonna.
So-
keep this simple.
so this is what was there, what was approved before,
Right.
a double door
Right,
and triple window.
right. So
And
that's,
So now,
yeah,
I guess,
we have a better sense of where it all fits now. Kind of, I didn't know where, like, just kind of fit.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
and how far we could stuff the dining table into the corner. It's a
Yeah.
32-inch table and that's it.
Good.
okay, anybody have any thoughts, questions?
I mean, to me, it kind of is like, is it visible or not? Do we have anything to say or do we not? Because I don't
I think,
particularly love the configuration. But if it's not visible, then we don't really, like,
The other package, I had pictures from the joint.
yeah,
streets.
so if we had, I mean, just to easily answer that question, if we had reviewed this previously, then it must have been visible.
Was it just part of the- if it was part of the other work, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the deck job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did include photos from the other streets and it's, you know, like behind us is Garden Street and everything back there and the neighbors on the side.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I do have, I mean, what we had previously approved was simple, straightforward.
3 double hungs lined up, is
Yeah.
that base? Yeah, right.
And I don't mind replacing it with, the flanker or the picture window. With the 2 casements on the side. I think that 3 doors seem to be a little bit much. I mean, is it possible to just go back to 2 doors?
Yeah, again, it's such a tight space that we're trying to keep as much light as we can. What we've got in there now. Do you have that? photo?
I actually personally don't mind the door situation. I think the
Yeah.
window, Al, you're okay with the window layout?
Well, I'm okay with replacing the 3 double hungs with this.
I think the triple sort of slider. From a symmetry standpoint, at least the 3 lights of glass are kind of in a row,
Mhm.
line up, all roughly equal.
Yeah, we're trying to keep everything. the same
Yeah,
height.
which I
Right.
feel like if we could possibly mimic that look
Mhm.
in the window style, that would go a long way,
Uh,
which, it would be tricky because you're not gonna get a casement window that's probably as wide as a sliding door. But even if it's just keeping it in the kind of the threes or the 5s, I would say even.
yeah,
Rather than like, it's a lot of different, there's just way too many different sizes going on
yeah,
there,
I think
I think.
what we're trying to do is to. Mimic the panels, so those would be the same,
Mm.
And
and.
this is 2 different room,
It's
that-
one room, but it's 2 areas, one is the.
Kitchen, dining room, right?
Yeah, this is, like I said, it's a very small space,
Yeah.
but we're trying to get. To,
I see.
okay, kitchen,
right now. the
So
kitchen
these
goes
are the
into
doors.
Here, yeah, so we're trying to get the kitchen here, the dining room here. This is, not to mention, but. This is, I would say probably only about 7 feet or 5, it's not long. This, I guess, was originally a porch in the back of the house.
Yeah.
What I've heard, and they enclose that. What we've done is big, is a even smaller kitchen here, we're moving out, and trying to get a half bathroom in here.
Mhm.
Instead of taking the staircase. Yeah, and so we're trying to keep what's there right now, which is a lot of visibility,
So
a
it
lot
looks
of
like
transparency.
I'm thinking about what's informing the window choices. So the
Yeah.
sink must be about here,
Yeah, the sink is centered on
So that's
this set
fixed window.
in the middle
Okay.
here,
Mhm.
and then the counter ends at this glass panel.
That's what I was thinking.
Right.
Okay,
Right,
I see. Okay. Because I know, like, we've dealt with kitchen windows many times, obviously, and, the height at which the, sill sits and things
Right,
like that. And it's always that kitchen or a bathroom that informs where, how the windows function and where they sit.
yeah.
I mean, I can be convinced because it's a more, it's a utilitarian room and, like I said, we've dealt with this before with kitchens and bathrooms and, how the choices you make with the window positioning because of that.
Like I said, because the house is so small, we're just trying to keep
Yeah.
the back of it as open.
Yeah, the doors I have no problem with
Visually,
because it kind of aligns with the mass of this
Right.
extension here. And,
The kitchen.
Well,
the sink
are
has
you talking
to
about the doors, because the dashed line indicates the existing door.
Mhm.
And
Well,
so if it was shifted over, then at least it does in fact. line-
it would line up possibly with
Yeah.
the rear.
yeah. I thought maybe there were pipes there or something.
So. You're saying we would wind up with that section in the center, a solid wall?
If you scooted these doors over to the
Yeah.
original
Well,
opening,
Yeah, I can't,
What's-
I
what's
can't do that
informing
because that's because I need this just to clear a table. Just to
Oh.
get a dining table here,
okay,
that's as far over as we can get.
okay.
And at that, it's a small table. In other words, if it was further over, you'd be opening the door halfway across the
into the
the
table.
chairs and tables.
Okay,
Well, it's not a swinging door though.
No, we couldn't, we wanted to do the French door, we can't, there's no room in there.
So I don't understand how moving the door over really has an impact on the dining room table there.
Because the other door that you're gonna open,
Yeah,
um.
well, you said that there's only gonna be one door that moves.
Right. If I'm further over, I mean, depending on how far it goes, the door is half. is
Well,
halfway
if-
across the table.
If this door shifted over to where the existing door was,
Mhm. Yeah. that's correct.
in other words, the doors start here.
This arrangement has that starting at, it was about 18 inches over. Is where the panels start.
Okay, well,
And
if this is 6 inches, this is probably about a foot, so that's about 18 inches right there.
Right. Oh, yeah. There's not much in the corner now. I mean, the whole thing.
Well, the thing is that you already have the framing for this door establishes framing for the slider.
They're going to still go into here, and I think there's going to need to be some arrangement. They're not going to fit into these.
Well, on the court, but right now we're just dealing with the door.
So. Let's just look at spread. What do we feel? What is it that we're looking for?
These three doors
Uh-huh.
shifted over to this opening, just shift it over.
The exact measurement of mine, like I said, I know this was informed by just getting a table and chairs without being in the middle of a door when it slides open. If these are each 3 foot. So that gives us 6 foot, maybe 7 foot, it might be at the end of it, yeah. I didn't want to wind up with the table down the middle, you know, I'd get a clear door to get outside. Full 3 feet to get outside. Don't know if that really gives it to us. Say about a 3 foot
Which
table.
door is the one that's gonna be operable?
The end.
The far one,
Yeah. Easily fit.
I'm more hung up on the window layout than the doors.
Mm. Yeah, that's how I feel.
I feel like the window layout needs to either be, if we're gonna accept the casement style, full light, no, you know, a conversion from the double hung, which is everywhere else, then I feel like it needs to be equal or close to equal size pieces of glass and a group of 3 or a group of 5, or maybe even just losing. I know you want to maximize light though, so
Yeah.
even if that was lost, I think that could be, you know, more acceptable, but a giant fixed pane with a fixed casement just doesn't look right.
No, I can't argue with any of that. I mean, I think it's, it is an issue. And I'm willing to defer as far as the door goes. Because
I get what you're saying. I agree. But if there was a sacrifice to be made visually, I feel like, or organizing the windows.
So what would we put in lieu of this?
Well, I kind of, so here are my thoughts, and I don't know whether Andrea and Al, you agree, but I could either lose this whole panel. So at least you have a row of 3 panes and then a row of 3 panes here.
Okay.
Lose that. I could also shrink that down a little bit and have 5, a group of 5. Which would then, to me, would be either
So like 2 more.
2 more, but like basically all equal size. So if this is, you know, if you're saying the door is 3 foot, that means this window is probably 20 inches.
Yeah.
Maybe you split the difference if you know, I don't know what the stock sizes are or whether these are custom, but if you called it 2 feet or something, split the difference and had operable fixed, operable fixed, operable fixed, or something like that, a group of 5.
Yeah.
Um,
So then the central one also? they would-
or operable, fixed, operable, but 3 separate panes of glass, so you get the illusion of there
Yeah.
being 5.
Yeah, because I don't really want to have, a sink. with-
Sure, you don't wanna-
with just this panel in front of it, or maybe at worst, it would come down the middle of it.
It would just be in better harmony, like what
Yeah.
Todd is describing with what, the era, the style of the windows that are already on the house. That's what
Right.
we have to look out for.
Yeah,
Obviously it's a huge improvement over, this.
yeah.
But we just wanna,
So.
What's your,
Well, certainly, the thing that probably appeals to me the most would be to, if we had, let's say, 5 units that were the same width as these
Right.
windows,
right,
and let's say the 2 center ones are fixed and the 2 side ones are operable.
3 center ones, a group of 5.
Well, and I don't, as it is, if you put in, okay, I could live with 3 center ones. But, you increase the width of the casements
Right.
so that, they're all symmetrical, and not symmetrical, but they're all equally.
Proportional,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, do you understand what we're talking about?
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand size where we're going, so.
Right.
They would wind up larger than the casements there now.
Yes, I think if, this is not obviously to scale, because we're talking about enlarging them, but if it was something like this, where there was one, this is wall now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 panels in a row, it would make the most sense for that to be operable and that to be operable, the 3 in the middle being fixed.
So we're gonna have 5 panels and all of this as well.
Well, but what we're saying is if you grow the width of what you've currently have drawn to match around that, then you're not really losing, you're probably not losing much of anything in terms of this. I'm just scribbling it out so you can tell the layout.
Or just duplicate.
Yeah.
Something short and small. You're saying. On the ends, operable. Is there on the right side?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
Yeah.
typically like the flanking windows would be operable,
right.
and then the 3 in the middle could be fixed. Or you could alternate operable, fixed, operable, fixed,
So
operable.
busy and so much going on back there, 5 windows. Plus the
Well,
doors.
you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, as it is
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Can't see it
Yeah.
being any more busy than that.
I mean, it would be more, similar to the way this is laid out, except you would have a 5th. From a design perspective, it definitely doesn't, and it matches, it synchronizes what you've done with the doors here. I mean, what we approved originally, obviously, is much more in keeping with the house.
Yeah.
This is not a typical kind of configuration that you would see.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
we've approved a lot of ganged windows and these big picture windows in the village.
I think I'm gonna wind up with the sink right in the middle of these two.
Well,
You can
that's
move
just-
though, this is new opening, right? So you can move them a little to the left or to the right. Because this is not the same opening as your current windows. The whole back of the whole back of the wall is being opened up and altered,
Right.
right?
So you're concerned with having the 5, and these those that open, but as far as where they are positioned within the wall.
I think we can give you some leeway on that.
Okay,
Because
okay.
there's nothing really that's driving this. I mean, if the entire assembly fits within this
Yeah.
area, that would be okay.
Right.
And if it was centered in that, that would even be better, but,
Right. Okay. Yeah, I need to just go back and present this with what they have on it.
well,
Or what they've laid out, like I'm looking at, thinking of the other side of
The
the kitchen side.
interior,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, which was from what, drove this with that distinct eating. There's no adoption.
But if you go, if you think of it this way, right, we're talking about growing the width of what you have drawn here.
Right.
So right now, this blue line that I have drawn right down the middle of that's your center line of where your sink is gonna be, right?
Yes.
Because you're saying the sink is centered on this big piece of
Yeah,
glass,
it has to
okay?
be. 'cause
So
it's
if
counter-
if these are each, if this panel and this panel are each 6 inches wider than what you have drawn here,
Mhm.
that means that blue line is a foot off of center off of your sink.
Right.
So you're not gonna be looking right at that, at the joint.
Okay, we'll have to go back and see again what they have size wise.
I mean, I think 3 would be okay with me too, as long as it wasn't all being grown in the middle pane.
Mhm.
Like, then to me, that really doesn't look right. I feel like if
Yeah,
the casements grew,
well, we previously approved casements and this is more of a, mid-century
yeah,
style.
okay, if you take a look at the width of the window, right, and that's,
Yeah,
all right, so here's 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're actually suggesting 5.
right.
You may not even be able to fit 5 because you
Maybe
just
too
don't,
close to the door.
you just don't have that much room.
Right, yeah, what I most want to avoid is having a gap, a big space of wall here. But maybe also, maybe this can go either way.
Okay,
Yeah.
but what we're saying is that this is not even necessary.
Okay.
What you're really going to be looking at is exactly that.
So an equal 4 with. both
And
buildings.
that'll be the same width, approximately the same width as what you have right now.
I think, like I said, well, 2 things. One, yeah, I know she's saying spacing wise here, and I don't want to wind up with one of them right in the middle of the sink, but
Right.
yeah. Well, let's do- Okay. So simply put.
so are you okay with 4? It's 4 instead of 5?
Oh, yeah.
Simply put
Yeah.
4 or 5.
4 or 5,
And we'll
equal.
see.
I think them being equal in width is probably more important.
And again, this isn't particular to this house. We've approved gang windows in many of these situations, and the thing we just want to avoid is introducing,
Do you want to go back and take a look at it? Come back next month or when our next meeting is?
I don't know where they are
Yeah.
prep wise and moving forward. What, is there an option now that?
Yeah, either of these two.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, if that's the direction we're gonna go, then, yeah, can we use that? Say one of those two and, I'm hoping like hell they have sizes and things that fit and something that works, but if they don't, then I'll see you in a month. I'd rather not, but. I
Okay,
mean,
all right,
I'd rather
so-
not bother you again is my point.
Yeah.
Not
No, of
so
course.
much. Get another month on top of this, yeah, it's kind of.
No, it's not
kind of
great.
not,
This
but.
is the worst.
Okay, so the issue is. 4 or 5, I think if we go, if we're trying to maintain this opening. Putting in 5 may be a little bit
I
tight.
think that's a little much.
It seems that what they were covering before, I don't know, there's so many dimensions on here. It seems like from that wall to the edge of the cabinet, 129 inches. If we break that 4 ways. I don't know if math class.
Yeah, you're right, Al. If they end up with the width of this, then you're looking right, yeah, 4 is gonna kind of do it. So,
Okay, yeah, I'd rather go, I think with the wider ones than.
okay,
narrow.
I'm with that.
Okay. Do I have a motion concerning the application as modified?
One of the note,
Yeah.
what I provided to you, the windows. One set are aluminum clad, one is
Well,
fiberglass clad.
okay, well, I guess the question is, what are the other windows that you have there?
These are orange wood with aluminum storm windows over them.
Mhm.
These will be white on the outside regardless, because that's all of the trim is ultimately white. There's a substantial difference pricing wise between the two, like about $5,000
Mhm.
just for those elements. So I feel want to, ask which of them. Or if either is approvable.
All right, is this also
That
part of
one,
the,
Yeah, that's a very small one, that'll be in the half bath,
okay,
and it's the one that's there now is actually sealed. So,
Mhm.
and but none, they'll all be, single pane. It's just sort of some of the catalog cuts I could find.
okay, and the sliding doors,
Yeah,
Or
it doesn't
front
show
ones.
you, it doesn't show you the triple pane, but yeah. Would be. That other old Windsor, I still want to get some input, but they seem
the
confident.
Windsor is the aluminum.
Right.
Um,
I kind of personally feel like there's so little. We're not talking about trying to replicate any historic
It's
window.
not the primary facade.
And we're
I
not,
mean, it's in the nationally.
Yeah, I would-
listed
Yeah, like I said, I saw
district.
something different in the front or on the side, just saw
Yeah.
that. That bathroom window, we're not, it's so small, I'm not even sure we're gonna go ahead with it. Because of the slope of the garage,
Mhm.
it's, one's at the very. one's at the very small end, but
right, the thing that. I kind of lean towards the fiberglass, because the fiberglass is a coating over a wood frame. Whereas the Windsor is in fact, an aluminum extrusion to the outside.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, no.
modified as, well, okay, anybody have any preference one way or the other?
I don't personally.
I don't, it's so minor.
Fiberglass. That's what my preference would be. Is that the more expensive one?
It's remarkably, it's more than 50% more. And like I said, between these, just what's there. There's $5,300 difference, which is the only reason, otherwise I'd have just said, sure, the fiberglass, but.
Well, and let me tell you something, I've heard of Marvin. Marvin has a very good reputation.
You know, God help you if you try to figure out which one's the best one. The reviews and things, and
Yeah,
it's all over the map.
I mean,
I just don't know.
no, my specialty is things that are 100 years old.
Yeah.
I don't follow the modern
I've been in
market.
business quite a while, but not that long.
I mean, I honestly don't have, I think that's a huge
Obviously, I'm
difference.
concerned with quality on it, because I don't want to replace these in 5 years.
Right.
But I wanted to, have the option if that's the direction I go. Again,
The fiberglass is wood framed as well.
And well, but the thing is that the fiberglass is a coating of a wood frame. And the thing that concerns me is that you can see it's an aluminum extrusion that is the exterior portion of the window.
on their nose is aluminum and seems to have done.
I mean, listen, the quality of the wood that's being made, that these all are being made with is not great, so you're probably gonna get a better quality with the fiberglass, but, cost. I
Well,
kind of,
as
I
said,
kind of prefer,
I'm not sure that where I am exactly on it, but I wanted to have the option if we move that way. The contractor felt confident about them. They have their storm in Poughkeepsie that one of the.
With all due respect, the contractor will feel more confident with whatever he.
well, if he's not
I
like
was gonna
pitching
say-
hard on the more expensive ones, then.
These people are not shy about giving you the most expensive. item.
Yeah.
Out there. I mean, they've been reasonable, that's right. They did the deck for us in the back, and we just finished that up with them a couple of months ago, and, yeah.
I don't feel strongly.
I don't,
All right.
I'll
The
vote.
only reason I'll concede is because basically you need a unanimous vote or else it doesn't count. Because there's only 3 of us.
Mhm.
Okay, so do I have a motion concerning the application as modified as follows? That the window configuration over the sink is changed to 4 panes, as I've got sketched up here. And do you want this to be part of it?
Yeah, prove it.
Okay. Anybody have any concerns
nice
about this
simple
small little? It's a bathroom window, right?
And
it looks like a bathroom.
again, I'm not sure if it's worth even installing, but we might.
Well, since that is a little bit more visible, I would say go with the fiberglass
Okay.
coating on this one. It will give you a little more leeway. Okay, so that is the application as modified. Do I have a motion?
We move to accept it as modified.
Second,
All in favor, say aye.
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 Is there a preference here as to which of those 4 open or not, or as long as they?
I would say
as
the
long as they're
blank.
Equal,
Generally, the outside, I think would be nicer,
okay.
or both inside, but
Yeah.
not alternating, I don't think in a group of 4.
Because you have the deck there, and we're going to do, obviously you don't want people walking into them, so we're gonna do planter. Or buildings, whatever they are, but I just want to know where to.
All right,
Got it.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, 61 Paulding.
Good evening.
Hey, Lou.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So, we've taken a little hiatus up there, but we are back to constructing. And with that has brought the realization that we didn't have a chimney. So the initial plans that I believe were approved by this board had a chimney, and then through the process, it was removed because it's a gas fireplace. So it's not really functional, but aesthetically, we'd like to add the chimney back on the side of the house. And we're planning, it's on the north side of the house, where basically where it goes on the path from Paulding down through Butterfield. And we're looking for approval to do that.
We have any drawings.
All right.
Farming.
This is mostly all remote back. These are being approved, so.
Yeah.
We even have
Well,
copies.
so this is part of the Butterfield.
Oh, that far
parcel.
back, okay.
Yeah, so that's why.
Wow, triangles. Does that look like second?
Oh, none of these.
Did Joe draw it, Luke, or are you just going back to the old version?
No, Joe drew it. I submitted a copy the other day of the updated plan.
He would probably.
I never saw that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Yeah, we're digging through hard copies here from,
Yeah.
Oh, I don't believe that there's that.
yeah, I never got.
Send it to Jeff.
But he sent it to Jeff.
Give me one.
Yeah, Plymouth.
If I can. I don't know if I can do this or not, but. I don't think I can share my screen.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, you just need to be.
Cursor is a little weird.
Looking at the plans and I don't see any, oh, that's upstairs.
This would have been, I think the plan from 2021. When Unicorn was proposing to do it as a spec house.
And let me ask you a question.
Try to share.
We're gonna try to share, yeah.
I'm gonna
Question.
that.
This time sensitive?
It is. We're hoping to be able to start that within the next couple days, truthfully. Can you see my screen? Is that something that you can see, or I don't know how to?
Okay, well, that's good.
So I mean, that's basically, we're gonna run it from the ground, the grade slopes down there. So we'll have to build a footer, and then build it up, but we're looking to run the chimney, and then if I go to the side view, that's if you're on the Paulding path or the Butterfield path there, that's how it would look.
Okay, and you got window flanking the chimney as it goes up?
That's correct.
That side right there is the path, that's pretty hemmed in with those white pines.
That's right. There's not a lot. There are the white pines between the path and our house too, which should grow over time. But so this drawing has it depicted in kind of a stone. And it should have a copper top on it, and it's just a matter of whether it would be stone or brick for the chimney.
Brick is probably more
Brick is.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Prefer the brick. Joe drew it with the stone because he said that's how it was depicted previously. But I would prefer the brick. It feels more Cold Spring to me. And going back to our old house, we had a lot of exposed brick, and so that That's my plan, is to use brick on it, some sort of reclaimed natural brick, but
Yeah, yeah,
I don't remember what the originally approved stone would look like, but I agree with Mr. Hilbert that brick would be most appropriate.
yeah.
Well,
The only time we see stone
I
applied,
guess. What is the, because you have a sloping, grade. And so that exposes a portion of the basement, right?
it does. So
Finished.
the basement, I mean, the bottom two windows are the first floor. And the basement is, it's gonna be siding, the wood siding down. And then just, there's a portion of the cement there that's exposed, but that's not our plan. We'd like to have that kind of screened off.
Um, look, I hate to do this, but it just, we have nothing. We don't really know who, what and where, and we're just trying to. It's sort of, we don't even have a document that we can vote on. Because what you're describing is on a document that you have, but we never got. And I guess I'm just a little hesitant that, we act on something as diffuse as this.
we don't have the documents in front of us,
Yeah.
and we ask that of every other applicant.
No, 100%. I'm not sure why it's not there. But I understand that.
Did you, this is Karen, the board secretary, did you send it digitally or did you drop something off?
I sent it digitally. Here, let me see. I guess that yesterday I gave him the copy that was just pulled up.
Okay, let me look on this. I mean, he usually will send it to me if he's got it.
I think this is what he's talking about.
Yeah. But the elevation change from front to back, the foundation being exposed is not a change, is it?
I don't think so, if I remember correctly.
It shouldn't be, but I can't speak to that from the. I don't believe so.
I mean, of course, it's always nicer if it's finished all the way down, but, concerns about slot back and whatnot.
The amount of there's not going to be a lot of exposed foundation.
Facade, the rear facade will be siding all the way down because you're finishing the basement.
That's correct. So that's what I mean. It's
Where the slope pitches.
yes, really just that corner. That's actually about where the compressor is going to go, I believe. So I don't think you'd ever see it.
I guess the other question is, does the chimney need to be that wide? I mean,
Oh, that actually is yeah, that's kind of deceiving. On that drawing, Luke, it doesn't look nearly as wide as when we're looking at it, the drawing without the chimney. Huh, right?
The chimney.
That window,
I
these windows
chimney- need to be,
Here, this window is in line with, almost in line with where the
Yeah.
siding ends, and up there, it's way over to the right.
So that maybe the width of the chimney is not that big of a deal, but then you need to keep the windows in the same. In the originally approved location.
the windows are there. They should be the same. I didn't put them there, but I understand they should be the same as the plan. The chimney can be, I mean, I think Joe just drew it that with.
I think the width that you're showing us right now is not a problem. We're looking at the old submitted, old approved drawings, and the two windows on the left side of the chimney
Mhm.
are way over to the left. They're almost in line with that seam of the siding, meeting
Oh.
the in there of the drawing that we're looking at. That's why Al said, wow, why is that so wide? Because the drawings we're looking at here on paper, there's a much bigger space between the two windows.
Right. It should be. It's either 36 or 48. It doesn't look like 36 based on this drawing. So I would say the chimney in the drawing is probably 48.
Yeah, I mean, the chimney in your drawing, it looks like, it's the full width of the chimney, which to me is unnecessary, because I mean, basically, once you get past the fireplace, it's just a question of, yeah, it's
Right.
the flue going up.
But there's not, I mean, it's not even anything in there. So we can make it whatever. It's not a wood fireplace. It's a gas fireplace. So
Really decorative. I mean, I
We-
think it would be nicer with a taper than straight up.
I certainly, if you don't have the copy there, I can produce it and we can come back if that's what you need.
I'm kind of curious if this drawing is incorrect or if the win, like,
Well,
because. Yeah, that's
looking at it in plan, it looks
that's almost
like,
16 feet. So,
I'm printing it out.
oh,
Thank
okay.
you. Thank you.
So
Room is 16 feet, so that's,
that's almost
That's-
half the distance, so. You're talking about 8 foot.
I wonder if this drawing is just incorrect with the window placement.
Well, see, with this one, if you take a look at this set of plans. There's a chimney on the
The left
inside, but it doesn't project beyond.
Right. The left two windows
Mhm.
are on this, what we're looking at, are way over to the right. Compared to the original drawings, they were kind of in line with the seam.
Yeah, that would
The
make sense.
seam of, where it meets the foundation.
Huh.
So.
that, I don't know why, because in the original drawing, that the pocket between the windows in the front of the house and the windows that you're referencing, that's where the stairs were. So that bottom window wouldn't have even, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me that it would have been that far over, but obviously you have the drawing, so but I'm not sure what's.
Well. According to this plan,
There was a window.
there's a window in the plan, which is not shown in your elevation.
Is there no window in the stairwell anymore?
That's right, the stairwell's not there anymore. The stairwell's in the, it's a center stair.
What's the date on that? 'Cause I'm sorry if I missed something.
February 5th to 2021.
Right, so that would have been before we purchased, and then we revised plans, and when we took out that those stairs, we did remove the windows. But
If you look at this one,
Oh, so that's over then. Is that a later?
this is November 2021.
So then it does seem at a minimum like that the chimney could taper as it comes up the wall.
Yeah, so it's down.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that there was also so maybe the older drawings, there might be, the middle lot and this lot were going through the process together, I think at one point, and there may have been an issue with the drawings that I think was resolved, but
No, I mean, I'm looking at the November drawings of 2021.
And yeah,
And these drawings are dated January 2022. So
Oh.
they're not that far apart.
right.
so where should the chimney taper
Well,
in?
hang on, let's take a quick look at the plan. See what's going on. And you're actually projecting beyond the wall, beyond the wall quite a bit.
Yeah, 2.5 feet almost.
Projecting.
You do 4 inches.
You mean the depth of the chimney? Is that?
Yeah, on the outside.
So that's we're hoping to, I think the reason for that is we're hoping to have the fireplace body, some of it outside.
And instead of stone, what you're proposing is brick, right?
That's right.
There's nothing to contradict that. Okay. I mean, realistically, at a minimum, it would change someplace here at a minimum.
Above the first group of
Above,
windows,
yeah,
right in
above
the,
the first floor.
two-
But realistically, it
Yeah.
can also happen here. And let's say go in like this and,
the 2 separate setbacks.
well, what I would do is I would do one setback because realistically.
If there were 2 fireplaces, second floor and first floor, they have different flues, right?
Well, but there isn't, in other words.
No, of course.
If you look at the plan, basically there's a bed up against that wall. So, but what it does is, it kind of goes along with the direction of, the roof line and everything else is sort of shifting over to the left. But, I don't know if I'm all that concerned about it. It would be nice, it is,
I can taper.
well, I guess the other question is that, basically the windows stay unchanged as far as location. But if you reduce the overall width of the chimney. I mean, even if it's only about 6 inches or something like that, give a little bit of clearance between the windows, between the chimney and the windows.
We could do that. I believe, by the bottom windows, it's just whatever the clearance we need for the box, for the fireplace box itself.
Yeah.
Will govern that, but
See a little trim or siding there, right?
Well, it's gonna be a tricky detail on how you do the window trim.
right, because it's only showing, I don't know, maybe 4 inches right now, but
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be able to put the casings on the windows. So let's say if it goes something like this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
How about if, we'll, we'll approve this and let them submit what they really want to do. Because if this can be reduced in width.
Narrow the whole thing down by a number of inches.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's 6'4", so that's pretty massive.
Trying to save you some money, Luke.
That sounds good to me. I'm always for that. I think the tapered would look nice. I'm not against that. I was actually trying to get out of the share mode so I could see if I could see your drawing.
Through the magic of. Where's the camera?
There.
Up a little higher. Okay.
Good.
Yes.
I motion to approve the chimney as modified by Al and blue pen.
All right. I'll hold off as far as processing it. Well, I'm not gonna do it until the weekend anyway. So if
Okay.
you can, Joe, send me the updated sketches or the drawings. That would probably be the best way.
Can we send him a picture of that?
That's what I was going to ask. Maybe if I could speak to. Yeah. Thank you, Todd.
$61 call.
Thanks.
Cute.
All right.
Oh, that's chilly.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay, so,
Say those words again.
yeah, say the words again. Do I have a motion on the application as modified?
I make a motion to accept the application as modified.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You got it, Luke.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And thanks for taking the time to wait for the documents and everything. I know you have an agenda tonight, so thank you.
All
Thanks.
right, take
Bye now.
care. Okay, 12 Grove Street. Present. Court,
The former Loretto Rest /
There you go.
Grove.
okay.
The main house.
Yeah. Like,
Oh.
literally.
I've been wondering.
Oh, okay.
Long what's going on there.
Yeah, how are things going?
I'll get a couple more things and we'll catch up.
All right.
What's your left arm, but.
Yeah. Richard Upjohn, Dr. Lent, the whole story, the whole history there. So.
What is the roof?
Oh, right, in November, the roofer didn't have, well, we had to come here first and you didn't have time to So he just laid down
Okay.
whatever roof
Substrate.
stuff they put down on there to keep it from leaking over the winter.
Mm.
So that we get through the winter and then finalize all this business and then move forward. You may recall that when the village got hold of the property, 2008, so whatever, it was, I don't recall exactly the date, the village took it over. They got a grant to take the old mansard roof, which was leaking terribly from every corner. Take that off and replace it with a roof that was much more in keeping with the original design of the house. There is actually a drawing of the house from 1854, which showed the hip roof as it exists now, and
Okay.
chimneys on it and everything else. So, so the village replaced that roof, but when they did that, they just rolled rubber roofing
Right. I
over
remember
it. Lined the Yankee gutters with rubber, very thin, easily cracked, easily pulled at by vultures who happen to perch up
Nest
there on a regular
nearby, yeah.
basis
that.
and,
What's that house?
and put holes in it. So, so that's how it's been up to this point. And when they did replace the roof, for some unknown reason, rather than cutting around the existing chimneys, they just cut the chimneys off at roof level,
Oh,
dumped the bricks through the flue onto the floor below.
oh,
And that's, so there's just the flat roof on top, no chimneys. When we got in there, the, water damage and so, and everything in the house was such that where the chimneys sat, the floors collapsed below that. So the chimneys ended up, the bricks ended up in the basement,
oh.
whole story.
Well, that and also somebody came in and relieved the building of its fireplace metal pieces.
Yes. Yeah, well, that they did, yeah.
Right.
We were lucky that most of the trim around the doors and windows was still there. The doors were all still there. The windows, in fact, most of the windows are the original pocket windows, which is a unique feature of this
Right.
house,
Yeah.
is that it pocket windows on little rollers and a little track.
Hmm.
3 of the sash were actually missing from brick damage and over years kids throwing in, whatever they did. So we were able to fabricate new sash that matched the existing, put the rollers out of the broken windows in and
They roll into the walls?
into the brick
Yeah.
walls. But the brick walls are this thick with a pocket inside. And there's a track that starts right under the window and runs into the wall with a piece of brass rail
That's
in the
unreal.
windows.
Yeah.
And
I've, like, every time I drive, which is every day, drive by, lately it's been the white roof, which at first I was like, is that frost up
why
there?
is it still snowing?
And then also, I'm like, how did the historic board allow whoever replaced these windows to not replace them with double hung windows? Are those basement windows? What are those windows? And now I know. That's
There are 2
amazing.
double hung windows. in
Very
the
cool.
house. There's the original one on the front of the house, on that little wooden bump out, which is essentially a window seat in the master bedroom. That's a double hung, and one of those sash were missing, so I had to make a new one of those. And then in a little addition, which I believe was built in the 1870s, which became a pantry, or we're not really sure what it was used for. There was a kitchen in the 80s, I know. The person who was the keeper of the house at the time, caretaker, had used that as a kitchen and a bathroom, that little room, and there was a double hung window in there. But all the other windows in the house are pocket windows, including the 4 sliders on what's actually the front porch.
Cool.
Everyone thinks of the cul-de-sac side as being the front, but it's really the side that faces Food Town is the front of the house.
Facing the foundry.
Alright.
Right, facing the foundry, facing the river. I'm sure at the time it had a river view because all
Nice
the
view.
trees.
Yep.
Didn't exist. So anyway, I'm here because we're now ready finally to put a real roof on the house. Steve Smith is going to be doing the work for us. And he gave me samples of the roof material. He gave me samples of the flashing we're going. Of the flashing we're going to use, etc. So, and let's see what that's worth. But yeah, it's an architectural shingle. It's actually the same shingle that Luke has on his house. There are 2 houses on Paulding. I think 2 of the houses on Grove Court also have the same charcoal GAF timberline. So, you know, trying to be consistent with what everybody else is. We had originally, I'll be perfectly honest with you, we had originally looked at a standing seam tin roof because the porch has the
Mhm.
remnants of a standing seam tin roof. And that was pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, it was an expensive roof to put on.
Yeah.
Post-COVID, it doubled in price.
Yep. Yep.
And we can no longer afford to put the tin roof on. And then also, someone enlightened us and said, you know, tin roofs can be loud in the rain or a hailstorm. And the porch roof is directly below what will be the master bedroom window. It's about 3 feet. The
Mhm.
window is 3 feet above that. So considering what,
Yeah.
so we decided that to go with a high end.
And then, it-
high-end
you know, it's
asphalt
changed
shingle.
from a residence and, you know,
Yeah, so
Okay, well, are you talking about the roof for the porch or the roof up for the building?
it'll be both, the whole building. Mhm. Well, except for the top, which is relatively flat.
Right.
That's a rubber membrane,
Right.
EPDM, whatever. the roof
I
is
think
the
that's
term for it.
what things.
Yeah. And that's what's been up there, and that'll be replaced. New sheathing will be put down, and the new rubber will be put on, and then one of these pieces, is actually the interface between, I think this one, there's the flat roof. Ends here, and then this comes, and then the shingles will start at that point and work their way down. And it'll be the similar kind of flat thing. We wanted to do something that looked like an aged copper. Copper, again, is not very expensive. We are still looking at, and the Yankee gutters will also be lined with this. This piece here will actually hang over the edge of the gutter. So from the street, you'll see this kind of stuff. They're redoing all the, I had started doing the work around, the trim work around under the eaves and all that. I did made and hung up 21 of the brackets.
Mhm.
That you see them on the front of the house. I managed
I
to,
remember the bracket.
I managed to get
yeah.
those in, but I need 64 more. And it's just, I just don't have the time to make 64 more, so I've contacted a woodworking friend and he's gonna make those. So while these guys are doing the roofing, they'll be finishing up the trim. And we'll be putting the brackets on around the rest of the
Great.
roof, and then I'll finally finish that part of the house. Everything else is weatherproof, everything else is.
Right? Do we have drawings for us to look at or?
Well, I'm not sure drawing of what.
Well,
I have some drawings, but I'm not sure. This is the detail that was with the original plans that Steve Tilley had done for the village.
mhm.
So there, so you can see there's the face, the little piece of, this is the piece of tin that'll hang over that. There'll be a piece there, then there'll be a crown kind of thing there, and then the bracket goes underneath it like that. So that's the cross section of that. Here's like this bigger picture, but the Yankee gutter will also be lined. We are still looking at copper for the exposed gutters, that what you can actually see along the edge of the porch and the downspouts from this.
Mhm.
But it didn't make sense to put copper inside of the Yankee
No.
gutter, which nobody can see except the vultures.
Mhm.
That's the same detail sheet. And this is just, in that same set of drawing. I used to show you was nice enough to, when we bought the house, he was nice enough to send me the whole set of drawings. Here, in the village. As you're probably aware by now, all this work has been done. We've taken the plywood and everything. Well, the nuns at one point had enclosed the whole porch
Right.
with wainscoting and glass panels around the porch. So that was enclosed. So one of the first things we did is take that back out. And when we did that, we found that this portion of the porch had actually come down about 4 feet because one of the posts had rotted away and disappeared. So we jacked that back up and rebuilt all that. And I found 7 or 8 of the original brackets that were on the porch, at the porch posts.
Mhm.
So then we fabricated copies of that in order to finish it. So all the porch posts are similar to what was originally buried underneath all this plywood. And it was interesting too, when there was a piece of plywood across this end of the porch here. When we uncovered it, we found that there's a sunburst pattern there that was buried after all those years underneath that. The nuns weren't as concerned about the ornamentation of the house. So
They're not into ornamentation.
not very much generally. No.
Very cynical. All right, so basically the asphalt shingles would be
From
in
there
this-
down, yep.
from there down, and then the porch roof.
Yeah, this drawing doesn't actually show there's like a 2/12 slope from the edge of this, just so that there's some pitch on the flat roof. It's not flat.
Yeah, I remember when they took off the mansard roof. That they exposed, this flat part, which was But,
They built the
Pretty
main front
flat.
over it? That's interesting.
yeah,
I mean, it's interesting too, because the support for that roof, brick wall, there's all the interior, most of the interior walls are also solid brick. So they started those walls that support that hip roof in the basement, and they extend all the way up to the attic, and then framing for the roof actually sits on those same brick walls in the attic. It's an amazing house.
well, I guess my only concern is, I see on the retail, we're talking about wooded slate shingles with. I don't know if you big, but I don't know. I am a little bit concerned about really is the flashing. And it just that we're talking about a house that is on the National Register. And even though it has suffered over the years, we're talking about something which, I'm sure once, you're finished with what you're doing, it'll probably be there for quite a few years. I mean, I'm not totally sure that makes sense to put copper in the Yankee gutter. But, that could be a membrane of some sort.
Mhm.
But I guess anything which is exposed, I think it would be nice to have gutter or copper.
My only concern, and I'll be honest, is that, we picked this because it's similar to an aged copper rather than the expensive actual copper. Copper ages and patinas very relatively quickly, and to go through the extra expense of doing that all the way around this house, it's several hundred linear feet to do that. And you end up, in 5 years, you end up with this anyway. From a visual standpoint, like I say, on the porch where it's going to be more noticeable. Like on the drip for the porch, going around and in front, they're thinking a half round copper for that.
Right.
And the downspouts, like these, I don't know what they call those boxes that they have at the top of the downspout.
Leader heads.
Okay, the leader head down and the downspouts down, we could do copper as well.
Okay.
We have
Well,
priced that
I-
out, it's not cheap, but it's worth looking into for sure.
I guess. Where would theoretically all of this occur? It would just be at the Yankee gutters, right?
This part here,
Well, all of, the trim, are we?
well,
We're talking about-
the chimneys have to be flashed, there's like the interface between the flat part of the roof and the shingles has to be flashed. That's why there's different cut pieces here for different parts of the house.
I guess, like I said, we're talking about a building that's on the National Register, and I think that, and from what you're telling us, you're willing to go to the cost of putting a metal lining in here, that I think putting a fabric or a membrane would be cheaper.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'm willing, and that I agree, nobody's gonna see that. But, you will have certain pieces which are in fact going to be visible. That and also the ridge piece. And I think that, you're doing such a good job with the rest of it that, I sort of hate to, it's something which I would notice, and especially if you're gonna be doing the gutter out of copper.
Well, the gutter at $40 a linear foot, the gutters aren't inexpensive, but
Right.
it's such a noticeable thing that we're willing to do that. Honestly, the house is 33 feet tall, whatever it is, you really. I don't think that once that copper ages, you're not gonna be able to tell the difference because of the height, and especially the visibility, whether you're down at Drug World looking up, whether you're at the end of the cul-de-sac looking up, I just don't think that a piece of copper that's exposed this wide is really gonna make a difference. But
So
I have to work within a budget, and we've been doing everything we can to get, like, I've had plasterers in the house now for the last month and a half. Just doing finished plaster, because we wanted to go plaster inside the house, not just sheet rock and whatever. We've been plastering the inside of the house. Actually, they just finished the plaster and are doing the painting, the trim, the original trim work. That's where we're trying to, so if I can save a few dollars by not having to put copper around that, these smaller edges, that's what I would like to do.
So we're talking about this element right here,
Basically, this piece here. Kind of hides
So
the
that-
front of the Yankee
right.
gutter.
right? So this line here,
This, yeah,
And this is all painted wood, correct?
that's painted wood, yes.
What color is it?
It's gonna be
I know
white
we
initially,
can't.
yeah, well, and I just, but you know what, I'm an Alexander, was it Andrew Jackson Downing fan, I have a thing about the colors and what it should be, what it will be eventually. It's not gonna stay white, it's just gonna be white for now, because that's the easiest way to go, we haven't decided on final colors yet.
okay, and just so I'm clear, so this element,
It won't be purple and pink.
this is,
on the,
because I don't have a drawing of the whole structure in front of me right now. Show me where that.
Well, that's this whole roof line.
This thing here,
Yeah, all the
okay,
way, yep.
so this
It's that first little line.
That
probably,
tippity
right?
top line, okay. And then there's, wood trim,
And then the brackets underneath
Okay.
that.
right,
And a charcoal roof.
And then
Are,
right,
we have the same thing here. This is that little
a
extension.
little extension, yeah.
and that's on the, well, technically in front, facing the cul-de-sac.
That will be,
Well,
that will be one, that one
yeah.
is this one, I think, I'm not sure.
Well, does that have a Yankee gutter?
It's got a kind of a modified Yankee gutter. It's not this deep.
Right,
It's probably only,
Okay.
it's about this deep,
right.
because it doesn't, it's not, I guess it's not carrying much roof area
Yeah,
draining to it, so it doesn't have to be that, so it's only about that deep.
That's not the, obviously that's technically rear, that's not the primary facade.
Very
Which-
visible.
which
from all
one
dire-
is-
Very
you know,
visible.
we have
from
two-
all directions.
two
I
primary-
know, I'm just like,
And
trying
if you're at M&T Bank, this is the primary
Yeah.
facade, and if you're over at Butterfield,
yeah,
this
and if
one.
you're in Grove
It's-
Court, then it's this one. No, yes, this one. This is the.
No, that's Food Town.
this is
That-
the food sound face.
That's Struggle
Oh,
side.
that's right.
This, so this is Butterfield side.
I don't feel as strongly about
I-
those elements.
Well-
I know you,
That's why I was
charcoal roof
asking.
Shingle to a dark color, yes, copper patinas quickly. It doesn't really patina, I don't think, to
It's
that
around
color.
the
If there's a better color, I'm happy to use it,
But
whatever.
I do, I mean, there is part of me that just thinks disappearing is also not, if you're not gonna do the real thing, then disappearing is the right way. I don't think trying to match the greenish mottled color of patinaed copper would be
It
the
always
right
looks
move.
It does.
It looks fake, so, this element up here. I think the gutters and the leader heads that you specified being, and then you're
Mhm.
saying will be copper, I think would go a much further way. If these were exposed gutters on the entire house, then yes, I would definitely feel differently. But that's just my.
Yeah, I agree, because that's why I was asking the questions that I was asking, because if it's this detail, and it's primarily, the upper level, obviously, we're talking about here, on the cul-de-sac facing side.
Yeah.
I just don't, I just didn't want to see this, I mean, that's not a patina color, and that's not what copper looks like when it patinas. And we do not have purview over color, but we do have purview over treatments of surfaces in certain cases, and that falls within that category. So,
I'll look at other options.
As
too.
long as
Something
it-
better.
well, my concern was more, where it meets real copper. there, the copper will patina, and then you'll have this like, glaring,
It won't meet.
bifurcation between it.
I agree.
It won't, which
It
is why I was
won't.
asking.
That's
the
what- yeah,
question.
You'll have this.
Because the leader head is going,
section of brick
it's a
there.
Yankee gutter, so it's
So it
all,
will fade if this is the roof. I just want to see this little seam,
blending right into that.
yeah, disappear rather than become a feature. So,
How, the Yankee gutters, where do they drain?
Right now, they drain to each corner of the house.
I know.
I have just
Inside? Is it an inside leader?
Yeah. And then I have a galvanized, that
Oh.
corrugated galvanized coming down currently.
I guess the other thing I would be concerned about is that do we have any places? You already said that you're going to be using copper in some areas, but not in others. Are we gonna have problems with galvanic action between different types of materials?
Well, what's coming down through the Yankee gutter now is a piece of plastic pipe, so the copper, well, actually, we'll have to coat that, that'll be wrapped in copper as well, and then it'll spill into that
Leader.
leader head. So there won't be any direct connection there, although it'll be copper to copper.
Oh, but
Yeah, I don't
But
think,
this is the Yankee gutter here.
Right.
So where's the overhang, or rather the hanging gutter? Where's that occur?
on the porch.
On the porch only?
Yeah.
And where are the leaders, those leaders, where they,
They drain down at three ends and corner of the porch.
okay.
I have a rain barrel there, but my wife.
All right, but that's the only thing that where you're gonna have a leader. Because these all drain inside.
No, I'm sorry, I apologize. If you meant they drain from inside the Yankee gutter, but they drain out
Down the
along the
side,
side, down
yeah.
the side of the house. Yeah. I like the idea of separating the actual downspout from the leader head because it gets clogged very quickly up there. So to be able to access that and be able to clean that out. Like, right now it's clogged, and over the weekend when we had all that rain, we actually got rain in the house. Because
not done yet.
it managed to find its way in through the
My
brick.
roof is,
One of the windowsills, I think.
Questions are answered.
Um. Yes, well, I'm still not totally convinced. I mean, the flat part of the roof, which is EPDM, is black, right?
Mhm.
So I don't mind that piece being the border between the flat and the shingle, because I don't think that's going to be noticed. I am concerned that, I still have a concern about that piece. And, even the inside, I've seen plenty of Yankee gutters, which they line them with, EPDM or, modified bitumen, roofing and stuff like that. So that's the part that I'm, and if we're talking about running copper leaders down the facade. I guess the only other thing is the flashing. And most of the flashing that we're talking about would be in the shingle roof area, right?
Well, on the chimneys, yeah,
Or the EPDM. on the
where
top.
where the EPDM and the shingles connect, yeah.
So I wouldn't have any problem there. I wouldn't have any problem between top and bottom. I guess this is the only part that concerns me.
Let me price it out and see if we can do it. I mean,
Okay.
we'll do it if we can.
And here's the only other thing is that we're gonna need some sort of documentation to document what we're saying. Will you have this in digital
I
format?
have an AutoCAD, I have a PDF, I have.
Okay.
No.
If you can send me, the digital version of this, I can mark it up for what we need. But if, I guess find out about the, so. What we can do is we can approve it with changing this to be copper. And, if that is not within your budget, you can come back and we can, hash it out again. Does that sound like a plan?
It sounds like a plan. I mean, it sounds like I can actually get started within about 2 to 3 weeks. So we will do what we can to make that work.
Okay,
Because I'd like to get this finally done. I think
Yeah.
we've been at this a while now,
yes.
and
Like I said, you've been doing a great job with, I just to let you know, the part that really pissed me off, because you were talking about the floor joists being collapsed. Typically at any fireplace, you always have a section of concrete, or stone, which is the heart, right? Well, they pulled that out, and that's what all the joists were sitting on. So they removed they stole the mantel pieces.
They took the hearths out?
hearths out, and we found bits and pieces of a couple of marble hearths, like bits and pieces. No fireplace stuff at all.
Like, who would want?
Well, and the
My house is from 1852, right down the road from you, and they're all
And
like,
the thing
still
is
beat
that
up.
I went through the building before, and they let it sit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't not bad shape. I mean, obviously suffered. But, all of the, they had the sliding doors. I mean, it was kind of hard to pull out some of them because of all the trash on the floor.
The large pocket doors now inside between what was originally the dining room and the parlor room.
Right?
We've taken them out, scraped them down, did maintenance on the rollers, put them back in, and they open and close like they're supposed to. We haven't put the hardware back in to actually lock them,
Right.
but they roll open and close just like they were supposed to. So we've got a lot of that original
And to
stuff.
the outside, they have the big shutters, which essentially close it off.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Well, the shutters disappeared. I'd love to know what, I've made, because we're living on the lower level now, what was originally the dining room, not the kitchen and the kind of pantry and all that, that's where we're living now. So I've made new shutters just to cover those windows. And, they're black raised panel shutters with old style hinges, and they work great. And eventually I'll get around to doing the rest for the rest of the house, so.
It's sort of a shame. I mean, and the village has nobody to blame but itself.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so, do I have a motion, to approve the installation of the shingles, the flashing in, certain places, copper gutters at the porch, and a copper strip at the Yankee gutter at the main roof, right? Summarize it.
Yep.
Do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to accept all of that.
Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, so, send me the documents and I'll prepare it. And we'll fill it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can I hang on to these for right now? Well, this is the slide.
Yeah, that these photographs are just in case. I can send.
Yeah.
some. I'll send- Yeah.
Digitally
Yeah.
and we like digitally too. Okay, thank you.
You have my email address?
Can I get it to the village's website probably? Is it on the village's website? GHNR stuff.
Good luck, Pat.
Hey. Kelly did that.
Hang on. Got a date. 2006. As a matter of fact, Steve Philly, he's the one who wrote our current
Oh, did he?
design standards. Yeah.
Still current,
So,
still our current design standards. Hey, so we are. Market Street. Hi.
Hey, James, how are you? Did you get the drawing that was?
Yeah, it should be on the.
It was my father, in 86. With a really good Photoshop.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I spoke to Steve, as we got the email, and I did some, I cut into drywall from the inside, just to see where the studs are. The studs are actually perfectly situated behind the outer edge of that wide. Of that wide. So if you go in there, you go straight into a stud. Okay. My father uses to do it. And so you bring them in very slightly, about 4 inches in, 4 or 5 inches. Which actually, I realized on the instructions on how you install the thing, it actually does, they're designed to have a bit of leeway. So I think we were concerned last time that if they had to come in too far, they would look ridiculous, but I think that it's fine. Thank you. Oh, in color, living color. Okay, anybody have any questions or comments?
No, I'm really glad it fits on the studs.
Well,
You must be relieved.
and you know, because the other thing is that we hate to sort of approve something. And then, you know, in about a year or so, have it collapsing down because it's tied into nothing. Into foam insulation.
Oh.
Yeah, and in fact, for the time being, I'm in the process of trying to develop this deep, but for the time being, it's over very sand, so it's even more important than it is before. All right, any questions?
No.
All right,
No.
do I have a motion to approve the installation as shown on the photograph?
I would move to accept it as submitted. Or as
Second.
modified. Did we modify it? We modified it.
Well, as submitted.
Submitted right here.
Right.
Right? Okay. As submitted.
All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Hi,
Thank you very
much
much.
thank you.
Done.
efficient, moving along.
Good.
Yeah, you got it. Senate,
I can't leave because we need me to vote.
That's right.
Aren't we in workshop?
No,
I'm still needed because we have quorum. I was asking Karen that. So, yeah, we need
No
quorum
argument.
for a workshop. I need to stay. I would love to relieve our audience member.
Karen, I may be reaching out to you if I'm missing any documents for the electronic processing, but that won't happen until.
They weren't on the drive either.
No. No.
I guess Sean's
you mean
away.
On the roof, that,
Well, on the roof, he's gonna send me that, but I mean,
Yeah.
all, for example, this.
oh,
We
okay.
do have more which are part of the submission. And so, you know, I want that as part. of
Oh,
the
okay,
approval.
so you don't have, well, whatever. you
Well,
need, just let me know.
I think I have it from, you know, our last meeting.
Yeah.
So let me just check, but I may be
The
reaching
other
out to you.
thing was, I think while you were looking at this, Sean, and I know sometimes you guys make your own little notations, you know, just like examples of how to do it. So he may have some things for you to look at too, but whatever I've got, I can send it to you.
Okay,
Just have it.
yeah, just let me sort of dig around and see what I can find, what I find and what I need, and I'll let you know, all right?
Mhm.
Okay, 22 parsonage.
Oh,
Yeah.
how's it going?
Good.
Hi. So, my wife and I, she's on Zoom with us.
Okay.
Baby's at home sleeping. Someone's got a
Congrats. On both.
You're not within the, no, that's not allowed.
Keep the words away or something. So we just bought this house last week.
Oh.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's going on?
Yeah, well, it needs a lot of work and we bought that and we knew that going into it, so. I'm just trying to get a general sense of what the. Board's guidelines are for, I know these historic cottages on Parsonage Street are. A little bit of a darling for the board, I've heard that from the architect we're working with, Karen Parks.
They're all darling.
So, you know, we want it there. Well, you know, they're cute.
No, this document that he just pulled out, that is, anyway, sorry.
We're
You want
updating.
guidelines?
Yeah.
There we go. They're online,
Okay,
and in it, it describes,
Obviously is very well.
right,
Aware.
it describes the process of, you know, for what is covered, what isn't,
mhm,
and what you need to submit.
okay,
And Karen Parks has worked with us
Many times.
many times, and so if you have any other questions, she would be a good resource.
okay. Quick question that I wanted to ask, so, big thing that we're shooting for is. It's a 1.5 story cape, we would really love to raise the ceiling height of the second floor. You know, thereby removing the roof and reframing it all. Would that 5 feet, growing the height of the building 5 feet, would that be kind of out of the question for the massing, preserving the original mass of the building?
Well, I guess what you're talking about really,
This full height dormer on the back. Obviously not.
Not staying. Oh,
Not staying,
everything on the
not
back of the
original,
house,
okay.
has no foundation,
Oh.
so it will not last very long.
This is.
And, what I'm assuming you're asking is really that there will be a livable
Right.
space as opposed to not the entire second floor having legal headroom, because legal headroom is 7 foot,
Mhm.
7'6". New York City's 7'6". So in order to provide 7'6", if you're going to be raising the roof,
Right,
well, and you're gonna add it here. In other words, this all comes up so that you have 7'6". You're essentially gonna double the mass of the house.
mhm.
Is that what you're thinking of?
Well, I was more thinking you would have to reframe the walls, all the walls of the second floor. So rather than, essentially cut down at the second floor, reframe the second floor walls, and then reframe the roof with the similar pitch.
Okay, but you're talking about 8 foot. 8 foot ceiling height,
Yeah,
all the way to the edge. So you are doubling the mass of the building.
it doesn't, yes, true, but it's not unprecedented on the street.
Well, yeah, and it becomes a question of. You see, I think what we tend to look for is something that blends in with its neighbors.
Mhm.
Do you have any idea as far as the history of that house?
I know that the original cottage was built 1909. That's about as far as I've gotten.
Okay, because I think that's one of the things that we would. For such a drastic change, we would probably be looking for some information about. The history of it.
Mhm.
Are you planning an extension one way, both ways, or is it primarily the second story? Because some of these sketches.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we would be planning an extension off the back.
off the back.
Yeah,
Okay,
it would be a single gable kind of T.
okay. So the front would be staying the
The
same.
front would not be changed at all,
other than the
and
roof, other than-
yeah, we would actually be restoring the original shape of the cottage, because we would be getting rid of this monstrosity of a shed dormer.
Yeah, yeah,
You're talking about this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, I'm sorry, you're talking about this?
No.
the rear shed dormer.
That, I
Yeah.
thought, no, they can't be talking about. that. Okay.
They were channeling,
talking
they were
about that.
channeling a raised ranch in the
Okay.
back of the house.
Yeah.
What went on there? Okay.
I think it can be done. I think it has to be done carefully.
Mhm.
And again, I think that probably looking around and getting some idea of how it had been done elsewhere would be useful. I mean, I know, for example, there was this one building which was right next to the pizza parlor, but they essentially had no second roof. And they wound up putting it in, but one of the things which made it work was the fact that the outline of the of the original roof was still there, and they basically pushed up.
You got like a big, like a
bottom.
shed dormer, basically.
Yeah.
Spanning the majority of the
Yeah.
structure.
So, there are certain ways, and I think, what you should do is probably, go around and take a look and see exactly what would work for what you're trying to do.
Mhm.
But it does need to reflect what's in the neighborhood.
Right. I'm definitely shooting to maintain the original proportions of the cottage as much as possible, but the functionality of the half story is
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
really shooting yourself in the foot for floor area.
Uh, Any other words of wisdom there?
You've got a lot more experience on the board with big kind of big alterations like this. For something that's been this kind of remodeled over the years, I tend to feel like there's maybe a bit more leeway than there would be with something that's more intact. None of the windows are original. We've already lost, the front. This is what I was referencing before, gang together for single like casement windows, which have absolutely no sort of bearing on what would have been original. The porch roof does not seem like it would have been original, certainly none of the back of the houses. So, yeah, I probably would be.
The other thing which you may want to think about is, if you do an addition in the back, then and somehow frame it into this. You have to remember our most important, the facade that we are most concerned with is the front. So if you built a large addition to the back,
Right.
then, and left as much as you can of the front, then that'll kind of mask it. It'll give it some context of what was there.
Right.
I think that, to some extent, it's, you'd like to have something which reflects what had been there so that people can look at it and say, oh, okay. Because anything that you do will be an obvious change. And so, there's no reason to try to make what the final product is look like it was there all the time.
Right.
Do you have a thought on the front porch or that front window? Any?
It's gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the hip roof on the porch is totally ahistorical.
Yeah,
And to your point about the addition off the back, I would, these are of course preliminary, but I would be planning to subordinate the second gable roof, or the third gable, excuse me, on the back, so that you wouldn't see it from the facade.
Well, we have done that on a number, and I'm trying to think. Was it the woman across right in front of the Methodist church? No, what's the Presbyterian church? The one that has the polling place.
has the what?
The church that has the polling place.
Oh, the Methodist.
No, yeah,
church.
Presbyterian's in my backyard.
Oh my God, that's where the
Yeah,
Methodist church.
up the hill. Yeah, the
The
brick one.
right
Right
at
on
the
a
corner.
corner.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she bought a small little cottage
Mhm.
and just proceeded to add all sorts of things.
Hmm.
And but that sort of gives you an idea of how, we'll be looking at things. And I don't think we're totally happy with what she did, but I think it was was considered appropriate.
There's also, sorry.
Yeah, you can see that the original sort of cottage was there, and then there were various things that were added on to it.
Right.
There's also the one on Parsonage, right? That,
It's right across from us.
is that right? That is right
Yeah.
across from you.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
That was a tear down, if I'm correct.
No, the one I'm thinking of is the one with the wood siding that
Yeah.
that just sold last summer.
And, yeah,
That was
Did they take
That
it?
was-
No, that was
they
the
took it all the way
original.
down.
They restored the whole front.
Okay.
The rear of it is where they, right?
Hmm.
And
well,
then got
no, actually,
approval for the front.
they added up front.
Where
No,
we
they never
just-
did. What we just approved?
No, are we talking, okay, we're talking about the house, the little
wood siding.
cottagey house, right? That we just approved,
So-
what, at the last
so-
meeting, the solar
Oh.
conduits and all that.
I'm
That
not talking
house.
about that.
Hmm.
Oh,
I'm
you're
talk-
not? Okay.
Or maybe it's on Parrot. It's the one with the wood siding that we approved last year, the addition to the front of the house.
That's the same one I thought,
And then they moved, and then
And
they
then they
sold
moved.
it.
yeah.
Is it the sold, maybe,
It's the same
Yeah.
house.
Oh,
They
okay.
just never put
Alright.
the
They never built it, okay,
front.
So I'm wrong,
addition.
yeah. you're right,
Yeah,
he's on the
Because
front,
they didn't have any room to add in the back, and so.
because everything was finished already, so, but that's a similar, or no, it's not, they didn't even have a, sorry.
that was a very unusual situation.
Yeah, it was.
And the other thing is that there are these three classic Victorian cottages on Church Street,
Garden,
Garden Street.
Yep. little,
And
gingerbread
one of them, there's very small houses, and I know that at least two of them were added to, one was added to the back. And then another one, he had a double lot, and what he did was he essentially built his addition as a separate structure and then connected the two.
Mhm,
that would be the green one, but yeah, the double lot.
gotcha.
So, there are a lot of different ways that you can do it. And, again, the thing that we're looking for is that it be something which is appropriate to your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, that's great. Yeah, I just want to make sure that there's at least a decent likelihood of getting through the board before we, commit to a design direction.
yes, this is not Williamsburg, so. we're not looking-
Oh, sometimes,
My hearing room,
Um,
that is not the case.
Well, for example, the houses on the National Register, like the one.
Yeah. right,
Hmm,
a little,
Yeah, it was good that you sat through that, because that was a major,
yeah,
but you're not doing that.
no,
Thank goodness.
but this house similarly needs a lot of work.
They all do.
Yeah.
We got another one right behind you. I had truck back up into it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, homeownership.
Oh, man. Oh, are you guys 15 Parsonage?
Yeah. We owned 17 Parsonage Street until it turned into this wooden box that it is now. We sold that. We owned 15 and 17, we're in John's family.
Oh, okay.
Many years.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was an interesting house. 17. So yeah, anyway, you have the best intentions and then it gets taken out of your.
I was gonna say, my first house was on Garden Street, and you were talking about like the height, like this house. So like, we couldn't, there was nowhere to go, it kind of fills its lot, so we were just like, nope, and then moved. And the second story, like was kind of more like an attic, like, and the ceiling is 6'2". My husband is 6 feet tall, 1 inch. I don't know why that happened.
Well, that's because before.
There was nowhere
earlier
to
the-
go up.
Yeah, earlier they didn't have any height regulations,
Yeah,
and so they built whatever they.
my third floor was, the ceiling was just over my
Yeah,
head,
I think-
collapsing, but.
yeah, they went up the stairs and just kind of slid in
Yeah,
and slept there. Yeah.
So if you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to work with you. And I would suggest that if you have some ideas that you're not sure about, come to a workshop and we'll go over it. We'll tell you what we think.
Oh, and also all of our videos, just if you want to see like how the meetings run, I mean, you sat through this. We have everything on the village website, all of our, if you need to doze off, all
Yeah.
the meetings are in the YouTube channel.
Yeah, watch
So-
all of Law and Order, so.
Yeah.
You put yourself-
Windows and fences. Yeah.
Great, well, thank you. It was
Thank
nice
you.
Meeting you all.
nice meeting you.
Okay, next.
Patrick.
Mindy, nice to meet you.
I guess we'll be seeing a lot of each other.
Look, I know history back to 1969 in there.
All right, perfect.
We live on West Bank.
Okay,
We'll see you over there.
we'll knock on your door and say hi sometime.
Okay, Patrick, sounds good.
Hey,
Last one,
Try not to leave my cookie behind. Still there.
all right.
So,
Okay, so. Nice speaking to you. There you go. We're looking at Mindy and John.
That's the front of the present, like what it looks like now, and this is what we're proposing. Cause like last time we had the metal and the wood, and we're just gonna go with the basic wood. Because I'm afraid to pick something fancy, because then when we actually go to buy it, I'm not gonna be able to get it. They're like, seriously, like I'm trying to source wood, and everything coming up is vinyl, when you actually
Yeah,
look at it, it's
Yeah.
so difficult.
yeah.
So
That's what the top of part.
that's what they're doing right now, that one they're renovating.
This,
Yes,
okay, so you want to put this,
Or not, that's where the car had it.
yeah.
okay,
We're gonna take out the aluminum windows and put real.
Cool.
Make an open porch.
It'll look
instead of
really
closed.
nice.
It really will.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then it's gonna be for rent again, because the Nortons are leaving us after 18 years.
Wow.
We were estimating like, and this has been 12 or 15 years ago they moved in. 18
Oh,
years.
oh my God.
Crazy. But it's, I think it'll
okay.
Oh, I know, I just found out my next door neighbors who've been there the whole time I've lived in my house. They're going back to Canada,
Oh,
yeah, half and half, yellow house.
Oh.
oh.
Do they own renters?
So the house next to me is, it was actually like one family in
Yeah.
two sections, like one, like the original family. And so Jackie and Josh own the house and they just rent out the other side. Now they're empty nesters because their son went to college. And yeah, Alan and Shaw, so they live next to me forever.
Hmm.
And they're retiring.
Okay, and you have all the paperwork submitted, right?
Yeah, everything's there, I think. It was just a matter of the design of
Yes.
We like.
Do I have a motion?
This is on the street?
Yeah, that's up at the top,
Oh,
Right
cool.
there.
Okay.
up at the top of the street.
Entrance and entrance.
But you just wanted to see what the old windows look like, that was the old,
Okay.
the new wall with aluminum,
Yeah, that'll.
So
look
the
so
door
nice.
window.
It's gonna look so much
Yeah, yeah.
nicer.
Yeah, that'll be very nice.
Okay,
Nice to sit there.
Do I have a motion? Because I have all.
I'll make a motion to accept what I'm looking at. You've got the paperwork, I didn't look at it.
Well, the paperwork's all online anyways.
Yeah.
In case there's anything that you wish to look at.
Oh, you weren't.
well,
I wasn't
here's
here.
one now, so-
Yeah, that's the one I
That's
was
the one.
talking about. I
Yeah,
was getting confused, it is the solar, they are putting solar on.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
right next door to that.
Okay.
We own those side by side. They were both in his
Okay.
family.
Got
And this
it.
is the one.
That's what we just were
That's what we
looking
just
at.
saw.
Yeah, like
Maybe
you.
maybe
can-
24 will
even
get
your
inspiration to make
house
their
would
porch
drop to
open
what
as well.
was The original bathroom
Oh.
in that 17 parsonage. the
I'll
one
make a
that
motion to
wouldn't
submit,
have-
to accept it as submitted. I trust you now.
I remember before it was it's
The
sort of iteration.
Bathroom was the issue.
It was,
Yeah.
Let me just interrupt. You second his motion? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Okay,
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Hopefully it'll look better next
yeah,
time.
it was great.
Right, typically the way it works is I process the stuff electronically. So I'll email you the certificate of appropriateness. Right, and then,
Then we gotta reel in a contractor.
Oh, boy.
That's free for a couple of weeks, cause now I have, right, cause I'm not giving up Mike, I finally got somebody who's gonna do my bathroom in my house. So it's like I got 2 weeks free in May, I mean, I know John's like, maybe he'll do
Getting
it.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
everybody.
good luck.
Hey,
Thank
thanks,
you.
guys. Bye.
No public.
No public.
Good night, thank you.
Update on design standards.
We can't vote on minutes.
We can't do minutes, so.
Bedtime's happening after all.
okay, so. This is. Workshop. And parsonage is C of A. Even though it was listed as a workshop. Well, that's okay. If we can have, if we, yeah. Why hold off on it? Okay, so Design standards, I know Lloyd sent out,
Sean and I have,
Say he was gonna send something out, I didn't see.
he said,
hang on,
where he left off, Sean and I have some editing. to do. That is-
I'm happy I picked photography.
Yeah, I tried that too.
That's one thing I'm good at.
I would rather do the editing than ever try to take a photograph again. 'cause I'm terrible at it. That was not my major. Thank God for everyone.
okay. Okay, standards update. John says, thanks, Lord, I won't be able to proofread it without any concentration until May 15th. Keep me posted. So,
Yeah, I don't
obviously,
think he sent anything. I think he was just saying that
Wow.
he has an update, but
Yeah, Sean and I need to look through, I remember like, make sure all the links were.
okay, and I still have that one section that I need to finalize or proofread or. Okay. So when's our next meeting?
June fifth. Table the minutes till June fifth, because we can't do them tonight.
That'll give us a
June
chance.
6th.
6th.
Is it the sixth?
Yeah.
With names, we don't have to print them again.
Okay.
9:36, wow.
Not bad.
yeah, I thought we were gonna be here for another half hour at least.
Wow.
Alright, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
I would move to adjourn.
I'll second.
And, we'll vote for that, I'll say aye.
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 Oh,
Okay.
All right.
Not bad.